What's up, YouTube? Bay Area Baller back again. Hey, we had a big trade that just went down earlier today. The Carolina Panthers are trading up to the number one draft spot. And it's big news. And I've heard a lot of speculation, a lot of different quarterbacks, right? Is what the rumors about who the Carolina Panthers are going to be drafting, and everyone is throwing out who they think the Panthers are targeting. I've heard C.J. Stroud. I've heard like four different guys. I've heard C.J. Stroud. I've heard they're trading up for Will Levis. I've heard Anthony Richardson, obviously the toolsy prospect out of Florida, and then Bryce Young, who I feel like is kind of the consensus number one quarterback. I know everyone views it differently, but in my opinion, I think the Panthers are trading up and they've pinpointed Bryce Young to be the leader of the quarterback position. Now, watching Bryce at Alabama, he's just so darn good, right? Does he have a cannon? Is he going to launch it 70 yards down the? Probably not, but he's accurate. He's mobile. He's a winner. He's a playmaker. And, you guys already know that. We've seen what he's done at Alabama. Now, let's take a look at the compensation that the Panthers are giving up here. Okay. This is per Adam Schefter. Okay. Compensation update per sources. Bears trading the number one overall pick to Carolina for pick 9, pick 61, a first round pick in 2024, and a second round pick in 2025, in addition to DJ Moore. And DJ Moore is a good wide receiver. Felt like he was underutilized in Carolina. Had a few 1,000-yard seasons, at least a couple. So he's a good wide receiver, and the Bears needed one. We know the Bears traded for Chase Claypool last year, midseason, but they needed another target for Justin Fields. The Darnell Mooney is there. He's solid, but I feel like Mooney's more of a wide receiver too, like stretch the field guy, big play threat. I see the chats. Jaron's in the chat. What's up, Jaron? Thanks for stopping by. We've had a lot of news over the last few days, and obviously the biggest move being this trade that happened today. This trade could be good for both sides, and I've heard thrown out there that the Panthers might look to move back from number one to recoup some assets. Maybe you trade back. Who knows? Maybe the Colts want to move up. But either way, I think if you trade up to the number one spot, unless you're watching Draft Day, which is a great movie. If you guys haven't seen Draft Day, where the GM of the Cleveland Browns is making moves, it's a good movie. You got to watch Draft Day. I'm probably going to watch it again here as the NFL draft approaches. Yeah, it was. It was a crazy haul. So what the Bears are saying is, hey, Justin Fields, we believe in you. It's a vote of confidence for Justin Fields. They got to improve that offensive line. I've heard some speculation. Maybe they're interested in Big Mike. Maybe the Bears they got a lot of cap room. I believe they have the most cap space in the NFL, if I'm not mistaken. So the Bears they're going to have an offseason where I expect them to make some high-priced acquisitions. They need to start building around Justin Fields. Last year, they didn't bring in any weapons for him, right? Brought in Chase Claypool late, but everyone's like, you got this quarterback. Why don't you protect him? Why don't you get him some weapons? Cole Kmet's decent. But he doesn't really wow me. But hey, you bring in DJ Moore. That's going to help. Pick 9. Maybe you go tackle. But just big news with the trade today. And I want to touch on Aaron Rodgers meeting with the Jets because ultimately I feel like that's where he's going to end up. I think he's going to end up with the New York Jets. No other team seems to be like kind of leaping at the opportunity to go get the future Hall of Famer. Like if I'm Aaron Rodgers, like don't you want to be pursued? Don't you kind of think that's how Aaron Rodgers operates? So when there's only one team that we're hearing about that is like, hey, we'll fly out, we're flying out to Cali, Rob Saleh, and that shiny head's coming out to see A-Rod, turn on the lights, A-Rod. We have a meeting. So A-Rod turned on the lights. But just the fact that the Jets are pursuing him so actively, I feel like that's where it's going to end up. Hey, what's up, Dan? Thanks for stopping by. No doubt. See what Jaron says. I know you got other topics, but with that Purdy injury, Trey about to take over. Lance, do your dance. Hey, I love talking 49ers and the quarterback position. So, Jaron, it feels like Trey Lance is going to get the first crack at it, right? It feels like Lance is going to start week 1, week 2, and then depending on how Purdy is progressing, right? We can't predict, unless I get my crystal ball. When I whip out my crystal ball, I do some predictions, but we don't know how Brock Purdy is going to progress, but it looks like to me Trey Lance is going to get the first crack at it, and hopefully he just grabs the opportunity. He seizes the moment, just like Eminem did in 8 Mile. This is your chance. Don't let it blow. So that's what I'm hoping Lance does. But back to A-Rod. I just think it's a seamless fit with him going to the Jets. Now they fired their offensive coordinator. I wonder who. Let me do some quick research real quick. Who did they hire? Because I know Rob Saleh. The offensive performance by the Jets was lackluster. Obviously, we know the woes of Zach Wilson came into play. I want to see who's there. Okay, Nathaniel Hackett. They're bringing in Nathaniel Hackett, huh? Okay. So that was their move. Rob Saleh's bringing in Nathaniel Hackett, who's worked with Aaron Rodgers. The ding, that just clicked. Hackett was with the Packers for years. So I just put that correlation together. So now it's even more of a reason just to see the transition of Aaron Rodgers going to the New York Jets. And they got some weapons over there. Garrett Wilson, Elijah Moore. They did have to let go of Braxton Berrios. So I think he's a nifty player. He's a good he's a good returner. Little slot guy, wide receiver 3, wide receiver 4. But they had to get rid of Berrios. He's a free agent. Cap casualty, which we're going to see more players getting cut. Zadarius Smith, I believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought I saw on Twitter Zadarius Smith is getting the cut from the Vikings. Another edge rusher hits the market. If you've been listening to me, and a lot of these Niner content creators are really smart, and they're thinking the same thing along the same lines as myself in terms of Yannick Ngakoue would be just a really good fit opposite Bosa. We know the 49ers D-line, they coach him up to attack the quarterback. Like your job is to go get the quarterback. You play the run on the way to the quarterback. And Yannick Ngakoue, well, I feel like he might not command, 16 mil like you might think, because the guy gets over 8 sacks like every year. Check it out. Yannick Ngakoue is just extremely productive in terms of pressuring the quarterback, sacking the quarterback. So that's the guy that I would be targeting. Like if you're asking me, Baller, who's the splash move? My boy Ron the Bowler texted me. He's like, so what's the splash move? And To me, it would be something like getting Yannick Ngakoue. And I was just watching some of his highlights just to remind myself how good he is. He's got all sorts of pass rushing moves. He does like this jump move where tackles are just have a hard time getting hands on him. He's got the counter to the inside. He's that true Leo speed rusher. I feel like that would really complement Bosa well. And that's where, so if I'm paying Yannick Ngakoue, right? Well, let me tell you, they're not spending a big on a right tackle. That's what that would mean, in my opinion, right? That would mean they're not getting the kid from the Falcons. But you know who they did re-sign? 49ers just re-signed Colton McKivitz. To me, fellas, that's the favorite for the starting right tackle position right now. I think it's going to be Colton McKivitz at right tackle. We saw him get some action last year filling in for Trent when he had the ankle sprain. I thought McKivitz held up pretty well. Let's see. Chat's live. Dan says, break out your crystal ball. Yeah. One of these days, I'm going to whip out the crystal ball again. We'll get the predictions flowing. Said, I'm praying Brock's arm will stay strong. Me too, Dan. Me freaking too. And here's the thing. So it is the surgery, because we were never sure exactly what surgery Brock was going to have until today, because obviously the surgery happened today. You know, was it going to be the brace, which that's what it is, and it has, you know, estimated 6-month rehab time. You know, he can potentially start throwing a ball after 3 months, is what I'm hearing, and just progressively work up from there. Obviously, at 3 months, you're up throwing lightly. But at 6 months, hopefully you're somewhere close back to full strength. That would put him around week 1-ish is what I've read. So that being said, that's why I think Trey Lance kind of gets the first crack at it, because I don't think you want – it just doesn't make sense to play Purdy, like rush him back. I don't think they're going to do that. Not when you have Lance. So you got the 2 young quarterbacks. I want to get to my point. You got the 2 young quarterbacks. That's why I do not see the 49ers spending more than, you know, 5 or 6 mil on a quarterback. Like Marcus Mariota, I think he's going to be maybe 10-ish, 9, 10. I think that's where he was at last year in Atlanta. And plus, with the 2 young guys, like somebody coming in, I think they know like they're the 3rd quarterback. So what QB on the market is just willing to accept, like, yeah, I'm a 3rd stringer. Like, yeah, the 49ers. You know, it sucks that our quarterbacks got injured, but I think a lot of it was fluky. Like, there was just some, I hate to say it, but there's some bad luck, man. Everyone wants to blame Shanahan. I don't blame Shanahan for the quarterbacks getting hurt. You know, it's like if Croft could have just held that block just for a half a second more, that's all it needed, a half a second. Purdy was getting the ball out. You guys know that. There's just a few freaky things, you know. The Lance one, that's maybe the one. But when Jimmy tore his ACL against the Chiefs, right, years ago, he could have went out of bounds. He tried to gain some extra yard. That's not on Kyle. Okay. But moral of the story, I don't think the Niners are spending big on this 3rd quarterback. They got 2 young guys. I think that both have a lot of potential. Let's keep going through this chat. Eric says, Baller, what's up, my man? Who's your draft crush so far? I really want that DT from Texas, Keandre Coburn. I think he would be the perfect DJ Jones replacement. Eric, let me tell you, I've been trying to get up to speed on these NFL draft prospects, and the defensive tackle position is the one that I've hit the hardest. D tackle, and then I've been hitting tight end. Like today, I just watched like 4 tight ends before this live stream. And there's a guy I want to talk about when we get to tight ends. But you're talking Keandre Coburn. Let me get to my notes, Eric. That's a great name, by the way. Hold up. D-tackle. No, that's tight ends. Give me a sec, because I know about the big boy. He's a big boy from Texas, Coburn. There we go. Okay. Okay. I mixed in some Warriors notes between my D tackles and tight ends. Keandre Coburn. This dude is an immovable force, Eric. That's the first thing I wrote about Keandre Coburn. So Texas listed him at 6'2", 343 pounds. That's a big boy. That's like Vince Wilfork big. Okay. So he's an immovable force. And also my favorite move that I saw, he pulled it off a few times from the film I was watching, Eric. And when I say I'm watching film, it's a combination of a player's highlights, and then I can usually find a game or two from the school. In this instance, it's Texas. You can usually find, if you type in University Texas defense, usually you can get a game or two. So I was able to combine some highlights along with a couple games of film just to get my best picture and try to analyze these draft prospects as best I can. So what I saw from Keandre Coburn, Eric, is he had this push and pull move. That's what I was calling it. He would push you, he'll lock you, and then he would just pull him and he'd get by him. 343 pounds getting by an offensive lineman. Now, so he's intriguing. I am intrigued. And when you saw a player like, I got to look around before I say it, Kinlaw get blown off the ball as much as we did in the playoffs. You know, you feel like a guy like Coburn, while he's nowhere near as athletic as what Kinlaw potentially was, what we saw, the flashes we've seen from Kinlaw. I mean, the dude's gigantic. He's 6'2". That's not that tall. And then he's 343 pounds. That's like freaking huge. So he's not going to be getting pushed around. I don't feel like. I thought like I said, first thing I said was he was a movable force. So I love that you're doing your homework, Eric. And let me give you a defensive tackle that I really like. And I'm going a little bit late. I mean, like Mozzie Smith would be like a dream, but that would be like 49ers have to package a couple of their third round picks and move up. You know, they're probably not even getting him at the end of the second. I think Mozzie Smith, I don't think he's going to be there for him. Byron Young out of Alabama. I do like Byron Young. But Jonah Tavai, where's the buzz on Jonah Tavai? This guy did not get a combine invite, but he was just ultra productive at San Diego State. He had 10 and a half sacks last year. PFF gave him, I got the PFF grades. Gave him an 88 as a pass rusher and a 92 as a run defense grade. So really, he's good against a run. He's also really productive in the pass. He just doesn't have the measurables. Like he's 6 foot, 290 pounds. But Jonah Tavai out of San Diego State, that's a defensive tackle I really like. And then I also like Jalen Redmond out of Oklahoma. And these are guys who I feel like they don't need to take him in the third round. Like Coburn, according to PFF, Coburn's higher on their list than the guys I just named, Tavai and Jalen Redmond out of Oklahoma. But Jalen Redmond, he can get skinny. He's a good athlete. He has a 4-sack year, 6.5 sack year. He's 6'3", 298. So a couple names I like: Jonah Tavai, Jalen Redmond at the defensive tackle position. What's up, Jaron? Okay, Jaron's hearing the same thing I'm hearing. Rodgers is destined to the Jets. That's all I hear. Yeah. Yannick or Smith would be perfect. Also, if Mac gets cut, I hope we make a play for him. Absolutely. I mean, if they could pull off Khalil Mack, because Khalil Mack, that dude's so good just in every facet of being a defensive lineman. He's good versus the run. He could take on double teams. He gets after the quarterback. Khalil Mack, oh, man. And I know nobody wants to hear it, but the one thing, the one thing I've thrown out there, you guys know, is Ayuk for Joey Bosa. Could it be pulled off? I don't know. Let me know if you like that in the chat. But shout out to my boy Josh. Josh, he said, smash that like button for the legend. You know what? I'm not legend status yet, Josh. I appreciate it, but I'm not legend status yet, man. I'm trying to get there. I'm trying. But I appreciate it. Hey, Josh. I know Josh hit me up, after the Warriors traded James Wiseman. He knows I got a James Wiseman jersey. And Josh, it's on the way. It's coming. It's coming, big dog. He said, I think they have so many picks that they should just draft a guy. I think they have so many picks that they should just draft a guy. They're going to draft several guys. Lo Truth. Hey, Lotha. He's also on the Yannick hype. So shout out to Lotha. Eric said, I'll check him out. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, check those guys out. Jaron. Okay. We talked defensive tackle. I gave you some of my defensive tackle guys. Tight end is the position I've been scouting the last few days, even more recently. That's why I'm only like, how many tight ends have I looked at? I've scouted like 10 tight ends so far. Okay. I went down PFF's list and just, their stock list, and then I make my own adjustments. But I watched the top 10, and this dude, Zach Kuntz out of Old Dominion. Okay. And what sucks is I got some recency bias because he just ran a blazing 4.55 at the combine. So, usually I watch the film before the combine, and then the time just kind of reassures what you see on film. But I had heard Zach Kuntz ran this blazing 4.55. So I'd like to think that, because when you watch it, he plays 4.55. And the dude is freaking huge. 6'7", and this is his combine measurements. So it's not like his team listed him, they gave him an extra inch or two. No, this is combine. 6'7", 255. Like, that's a big dude. PFF liked what he did in the passing game, in the reception game, and as a run blocker. In terms of, he had a 68 grade as for his run blocking, which is better than a lot of these other tight ends that are kind of more just like pass catching dudes. Like Schoonmaker out of Michigan's like really athletic, but he's not a good blocker. But this dude, Zach Kuntz, what I like about him, just first of all, how premium of an athlete he is, but also how he's able to pluck balls away from his body. Like he's 6'7", and he's snatching balls that are probably like 9.5 feet, like up to a basketball rim, 10 feet in the air, and he's just plucking balls. Combine that with 4.55, and he's a respectable run blocker who'll get after it. He's got just his build like Zach Kuntz, dude. That's where 49ers got 3 third-round picks. Jaron. Niners need a backup tight end. I'm drafting Zach Kuntz with one of those third-round picks. I just did a PFF mock draft before I went live, and I was able to get him. Like he should. PFF thinks he'll be there at the end of that third round. I think it'd be a great pick. Eric says, I would trade BA for Joey all day. Sorry, BA, I love you, but give me the Bosa brothers all day. Yeah, and I saw the Chargers, I believe they restructured Keenan Allen. Because there was some speculation, like, could he be like kind of a cap casualty? But it sounds like they restructured him, so he'll be there. So maybe it's less likely now. But the Chargers wide receivers need some juice. Like, both Mike Williams and Keenan Allen, like, they're not burners. They're kind of possession guys. Like, Mike Williams wins down the field, but it's almost like they're like big-bodied downfield targets, where he's got to catch it in traffic. Whereas a guy like Ayuk, you pair him with Herbert, he's going to get a step on the guy, and Herbert can hit him in stride. Now, they're not throwing these contested balls. So it felt like Just seems like the Chargers would want Brandon Ayuk, but it ain't gonna happen. But it just if there was, because we saw Nick Bosa was just talking about how playing with his brother would be crazy, right? You guys saw that interview, or if you didn't, you should. It was good. But Nick Bosa, he would love to play with his brother, and it's like if the Niners were to pull it off, to get a talented player like Joey Bosa, you got to give up talent. That's just what it is. Or premium draft picks, which the Niners don't have this year. And they would want the now picks. So that's where I got the BA kind of idea. He's kind of the one of the tradable assets where you're not taking this big cap hit, where you're taking on dead cap. Josh said, I said they should draft a guy when you were talking about QBs. Okay. Okay, I missed that comment. Draft a guy. I mean, that would be a really cheap quarterback room. I wouldn't be opposed to it. I wouldn't, because whoever it has, it's got to be someone cheap, Josh. You got two young, promising quarterbacks. That's why it doesn't make sense to me to spend 10 mil on Marcus Mariota or what have you. I've heard if Ryan Tannehill, if Tannehill gets cut, should the Niners go after him? No. Somebody cheap. You got two promising guys. We're talking about a third quarterback. Like, the recency bias is crazy. No teams talk about their third quarterback. Okay. I know with the Brock Purdy thing, there's some nuance there. There's some uncertainty. I guess you could argue with both, but in my mind, Trey's going to be back. You're already hearing reports he's progressing. He's doing some activities. Sounds like everything went well with Brock Purdy today. So I'm not spending on a third quarterback. You can't spend everywhere. Nobody's talking about their third quarterback, guys. It's just the recency bias. 49ers, it was some bad luck injuries, man. I mean, Jimmy against the Dolphins, it's like he should have just got rid of the ball, but there was like two guys wrapped him up, and it was just, it's unfortunate. Josh said, I'd also do Ayuk for Joey Bosa in a heartbeat if it wasn't for the contract Bosa has. I know that take some finagling, Parag, and what his brother will get. We need Drake Jackson to step up this season. Josh, the only two defensive ends under contract right now are Nick Bosa and Drake Jackson. So it's like there's going to be some moves, right? Samson Ebukam, we saw the report. He could command 10 plus mil. Samson, he was a good Niner, but I want to upgrade. That's what the offseason's about. It's about getting better. And Ebukam's good, but I want something better. I want to upgrade. But they need bodies. So Drake, you want to see Drake have a really good offseason. Put on some muscle, come back, I'm not his trainer, but just get in the best shape of your life. How about that, Drake? Hey, you're a pro now. Second year, you got a full off season, with NFL contacts. So I'm expecting Drake to come back in the best shape of his life. All right, because he couldn't get on the field at the end of last year. I want to see him have some more pop. We know he's super bendy. He's got some tools to be. We know he can bend the edge. You might be able to mix him inside a little bit. We'll see. That's where he needs some more pop. I think he's got to live in the weight room this offseason. I want to see. How every year there's always like one or two guys where in training camp you hear, the beat reporters like, hey, dude looks different this year. He's rocked up. He put on some muscle. You hear about a guy like that every year. I feel like it was Aaron Banks last year, right? Aaron Banks, looking slimmed down a little bit. He's looking good, moving better. Yeah, something like that. Beto, Niner Sickness Podcast. Beto, thanks for coming by. Niners at the OBJ workout today. Love to see that, Eric. Hey, that's why the comment section's got to be so live, because I wrote down a list of topics. That one escaped me. So, Eric, I appreciate it. They were. And what does that mean? They're at the OBJ workout today. It's like, well, they drafted Danny Gray. You got Debo. You got BA. Like, does it make you think a little bit? No? They're just doing their due diligence. They could just be doing their due diligence. I know Kyle Shanahan, he's always been kind of enamored, at least he used to be, with Odell Beckham. Remember, the Niners have been linked to him, ever since like the D Ford trade, right? Like it was the day of the D Ford trade. I feel like, was there a Beckham trade too? I feel like Beckham went to the Browns, and then right after that, the Niners got D Ford. And it was almost like, okay, well, were they in on Beckham and they missed out, but because John Lynch, man, that's one thing. Niners are active. They're making trades. They're making moves. Gotta appreciate it. John Lynch is great. The only move that I'm like, I don't even fault him for the Solomon Thomas. Like, yeah, it was a bad pick, but like, even me at the time, like, I thought he was going to be a good player. I thought he was going to be a good pro. So I was wrong too. So it's like, but trading DeForest Buckner, that's the one where you just don't trade your blue chip superstars. You don't do it, especially when they're leaders in the community, just really good people, and even better on the field. Like, come on. So you don't trade players like that. That's my biggest gripe with John Lynch. Other than that, he's doing really good. Yeah, check him out, Jaron. Hey, Camper Report. Ben. Check out Ben's channel, dude. Ben's been grinding. He's putting in a lot of work. Ben, we got to link up. But he said that Panthers trade was crazy. It was, dude. It was. I feel like it could work out for both sides, Ben. I feel like it could end up working out for both sides where the Panthers go up and get their quarterback. And let me know in the chat, who do you guys think the Panthers are trading up for? We know it's a quarterback. You don't give up the plethora of stuff. You see it on your screen here. Pick 9, pick 61, a first rounder next year, a second round pick in 2025, and DJ Moore, who's a really good receiver. Like DJ Moore's right on that wide receiver 1, wide receiver 2 tier in my mind. A trade was crazy, Ben. I agree. Bosa isn't worth it. He's way too injury prone, and his contract is absurd. Hey, there's some dialogue. There's a few people in the chat that are saying, absolutely, I'd do it. And Ben's saying, you know what? And he's making good points. It's not worth it. He does have a massive contract. And he did miss a chunk of the season a few times, a couple times. This past season, he missed a chunk. Then he came back. Remember, was it in the playoff game where it's like he got that penalty? Joey slammed his helmet down and cost his team in a bad way. I remember when you're watching that game and you're like, Joey, dude, you can't do that. But he did it. Mark's with me. It's got to be someone cheap. You can't spend 9-10 mil on Andy Dalton. It ain't happening. Not to me, at least. Unless you're hearing something about Brock Purdy or a Trey Lance. It's not. Things aren't progressing quite as you had hoped. Then maybe, but at this point, that can't be their mindset. I'm with Mark. Cheap third string quarterback. Josh said someone who's cheap and knows their role will be another rookie. If Mr. Irrelevant can look good in this offense, there could be a guy who can manage as a third string with all these weapons. You know who that sounds like, Josh? If you're talking rookie experience, someone who might be good with some weapons, sounds like it's Stetson Bennett out of Georgia. We've all seen him play in some big games. And it's like in all those freaking big games, Stetson Bennett looked pretty darn good. Like, I mean, just to my eye, just watching, national championship game, Final Four. Stetson Bennett, he's that veteran. He's got some moxie. Beto said Chargers ain't trading Joey Bosa. Yeah, you're probably right, Beto. Probably right. But you don't think they pick up the phone if John's throwing out BA? BA's supremely talented, and as Ben said, Joey Bosa was dinged up last year. You would think watching Nick Jackson would want to step up his game. That's what I'm hoping, Mark, because he couldn't get on the field the last handful of games, right? Last 5, 6 games couldn't get on the field. So hopefully that lights a fire under Drake. And like I said, I want him to come back in the best shape of his life and motivated. That hey, like I'm that dude. You drafted me in the second round. I should have been a first round. I'm that guy. I want Drake to come out because I think he's got it in him. He's got some talent. He's got really good hands. Now it's coming back to me. What I loved about Drake Jackson coming out of USC was his bend, but it's also his hands. He can swat an offensive tackle's hands away and turn that corner and make a beeline to the quarterback. Like he's got some tools. He's got to put it together. I want to see him get in better shape. I expect Drake Jackson to truly step up in year 2 in his development. Okay, Beto, I like that. Yeah. The worst part about trading Buckner was paying Armstead more. Well, their contracts were structured completely different, where the Colts paid Buckner up front, and the Niners backloaded everything for Armstead. So it was just complete opposite philosophies in terms of the pay structure. But man, I miss Buckner. What's up, Ben? Okay, Beto says they're trading for CJ Stroud. That's what Vish said too. I caught Vish and Kruger. That's a good combo. And Vish thought it was Stroud. And Krug, who did Krug think it was? I think Krug thought it was Will Levis. And I think it's Bryce Young. And then, so, people think it's Anthony Richardson. So it's like, who is it? Who's Carolina moving up to pick one to go get? Josh says they're going for Stroud. Josh, that sounds so matter of fact. Like, who do you know, Josh? Let me know. You know somebody in Carolina? We could talk off the record. Who the Panthers QB going to throw the ball now to, though? Ooh, Eric, that's deep. I like that thought. Let's look at the Panthers depth chart. Let's look at the Panthers depth chart. When I'm looking at depth charts, I go to Our Lads. That's kind of my spot, my depth chart website, as opposed to like ESPN. Okay, so Terrace Marshall is there. Laviska Chenault. Shi Smith. Mm, mm. Yeah, Preston Williams. That's a great point, Eric. That's a great freaking point. Who's this quarterback going to be throwing the ball to? The tight end? Or do they got Tommy Tremble over there? I've always kind of liked Tommy Tremble, but he never does anything. Ian, is it Ian Thomas? Guy with the dreads. He's decent, but he's not a big pass catcher. Interesting. Emiliano was popping. Just saw something on one of my feeds saying that Denver is getting calls about Sutton and Judy. Why? I know Judy's been up and down, but still, I know those are two good wide receivers, but it's like, where did that get him last year, Emiliano? And now you got Sean Payton coming in. So let's think about Sean Payton. Who do you think Sean Payton would value more? I feel like Peyton would like Sutton more than Judy. Like if he had to pick one. I think Peyton might dump Judy. Not dump him, but trade him to get assets. But I think they're two really good players too, Emiliano. But it just didn't work last year. I mean, to be honest, I did not see the Russell Wilson year coming. Like he was terrible. He was terrible. I didn't see that coming. Like I thought he's at least going to be like pretty good, like solid. But no, he was bad. So you wonder, can Sean Payton salvage Russell Wilson? I mean, that's what they brought him there to do, right? Imagine if the 49ers made a trade like the Panthers did. This is sarcasm font. This is because they did. The 49ers did. So this is sarcasm font. Low the truth. I heard Levis was high on the Panthers board, but I could be wrong. That's what Krug. That's not what Krug said, but Krug thinks it's Levis who they traded up for. It's really interesting. I think it's Bryce Young. There it is. Took me probably too long to get to it. Jaguayo. Thanks for stopping by, Jaguayo. He said, "What up, baller? Did you check out Felix Anudi Uzama from K-State Edge, tight end Brandon Willis from Oklahoma, Davis Allen from Clemson, Josh Wiley, Cincy, Jaguayo? First of all, thank you for the super chat. That's why it's raining on me right now. And I can say yes to some of these guys. And I got my tight end notes right here. Okay. So Braden Willis, I don't think I've seen him yet. No, he's pretty far down the list. I've watched the top 10. They got Braden Willis around like 16 or 17 on this list I'm looking at. So I will get to Braden Willis. But Davis Allen out of Clemson, I just watched him today. And I feel like I had seen him, when you're just watching Clemson kind of randomly throughout the year. The dude is huge. We're talking tight end, draft prospect, Davis Allen out of Clemson. The first thing I wrote, he's got really good catch in traffic. You see Davis Allen catching these balls in traffic amongst bodies. He's high pointing them. So that was one thing I noticed. Then I went to PFF just to see their metrics. Actually, you know what? I got to pull it up for you. You're going to freaking love this. Okay, hold on. I got to go to tight ends. I'm seeing Bryce Young, Jalen Carter. Those are their top two prospects in terms of the whole draft. And for PFF, yeah. Davis Allen. And I had to pull it up because he's got some crazy stats. Okay. His contested catch rate was 91.7, which is just insane. So he catches so many contested balls. His drop rate was 2.5. So the dude doesn't drop balls. That's like an insane rate. So he catches contested balls. He doesn't drop balls. He was good. He was a good run blocker. His run blocking grade per PFF was a 69. His receiving grade was a 71. Both of those are good. The receiving grade is like solid, but the blocking grade 69 is good. I'm looking at a lot of these top tight ends in this draft got run blocking grades of like 54 from Luke Musgrave, a 53 from Sam Laporta, Luke Shoemaker out of Michigan's a 56 run blocker. So when you see a 69 run blocking grade, it's good to see. And you know what? For some reason, I thought I was showing you the screen, but I wasn't. So that was my bad. I was just looking at the screen. I can show you what I was looking at. Right here. So I'm looking at let's make me smaller. Let's make that bigger. And this money just keeps making it rain on me. Jaguayo, thank you. This is what I'm looking at here this is Davis Allen. And you're seeing this contested catch rate. Look at this dot over here. This is the median line. His contested catch rate's insane. He's a good run blocker. Like all these dots being on this side means he's above average. Okay, that's what that's telling you in PFF's metric. Okay. Now, let me add in that he was really slow at the combine, Jaguayo. When we're talking Davis Allen at a Clemson, he was really slow. He ran a 4.84. Like, damn, that was slow. And that showed up on tape. So, to be honest, Jaguayo, I'm probably going to be lower on Davis Allen than most. Like the next guy you named, Josh Wiley out of Cincinnati, Jaguayo. I really like Josh Wiley. And I just remember watching him with Desmond Ritter, right? Cincinnati was playing in all those big games, and you saw Wiley, this gigantic tight end, making plays. Well, now he's draft eligible. He's in the draft. So he's really good. I like Josh Wiley more than Davis Allen. But Jaguayo, I don't know if you heard me earlier, or you might have just came in, but my tight end crush right now is Zach Kuntz out of Old Dominion. He ran a 4.55. He's got blazing speed, but it was just the way he plucks balls away from his body, catching, balls just away from his body. He's really coordinated. He's really fast. He moves really well. He's physical. He's a respectable run blocker. So Zach Kuntz, that's who I'm targeting. Like if the Niners want to take a tight end in the third round, I'm looking at Zach Kuntz. Josh Wiley, though, like he's on my radar. I don't know if I would take him with one of those third. I wouldn't be mad. I wouldn't be mad if they used one of those late threes on Josh Wiley. And then I also checked out Will Mallory out of Miami. And Will Mallory, he's a weapon. He's a weapon. He's like a receiver at tight end. Okay. Also ran a blazing 40 of a 4.54, which is really good for a tight end. He's really good after the catch. But he was a bad blocker in terms of PFF's grading system. They did not like his blocking. So those are some tight end prospects that I've scouted yesterday and today. I've been hitting the tight end position. Look at him. Look at him. Hey, Celts. Thanks for stopping by. Celts Chronicles. I got a show with him on Mondays. Off season, we mix it in. But during the season, it's every Monday, along with Jay and the Bay, along with Amin the Dream, the Fearsome Foursome, straight out of the Bay. He said it's raining game in Northern California. Yay! Hey, Celts, I appreciate the super chat. 707. Vallejo in the house. And I'm an East Bay cat now. I grew up in South City, but I moved out to the East Bay a couple years ago. I like it out here. But hey, Celts, thank you for showing love. And also, I can't wait to get back to doing Straight Out of the Bay, which I know we'll have an episode here soon. No doubt. Especially free agency starts popping off. Niners are making moves. It's going down on Mondays. Bennett would be the oldest quarterback in the room, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, you're right, Josh. You're freaking right. That's hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh, but hey, Jaguayo, you know what? I'm still lacking. I haven't checked out Felix Anudie-Uzomah, and you told me to do that already. And I wrote him down before too. But I got no excuse for you. That's on me, Jaguayo. That's on me. But the tight ends, I'm all about. Braden Willis is a little down the list. Okay. Buckner's a better player than Armstead, but Armstead was more beneficial to the Niners financially. I hear you, Beto. Just my thing is you don't let blue chip superstar players, you don't let them get away, in my opinion. Those are guys that you lock down. A lot of people were saying AR because of the combine testing. Itchy coming in with who are the Panthers trading up for? He thinks it's AR, Anthony Richardson. He's got the tools. He's got a cannon. He's super mobile and he's like a good runner. Like he can make you miss. He's not Lamar Jackson, but like he's in that upper echelon, like Justin Fields, in that tier of like those dudes can run. And I know the completion percentage was low, but he showed he showed enough. He showed enough. Like he had some nice plays from the pocket where it's not all projection like it was with Malik Willis. Malik Willis, it's like you got to close your eyes and just like imagine like what it could be. Like Anthony Richardson actually showed you these flashes. It's just about doing it more consistent. So Itchy, that's possible. I don't know who it is. I've heard 4 different names. Emiliano said, "It's nice the Bears are most likely hooking up Fields with weapons in year 3. Year 3 is when evaluators usually determine how talented a quarterback is, more or less, and he can develop with them as well." Emiliano, hey, better late than never. I'll tell you that. I thought last year they should have went out and got him a weapon. Um, but they traded for Chase Claypool. Now they're bringing in DJ Moore. So hey, better late than never. And hey, in Zach Wilson's case, man, everybody's written him off, and he didn't even get it. He didn't even get to year 3 before everyone wrote him off. And trust me, I like me some Zach Wilson. I'm not all the way out on him, but how can I say it? I've been disappointed. I had high hopes for the kid. I thought he was really talented. Maybe that was a mistake in my evaluation, which you got to look in the mirror. You got to get better. I want to be as accurate with projecting players as any NFL GM is. And I thought Zach Wilson was going to be really good. He's been bad. Makes a lot of boneheaded plays. Too many boneheaded plays, just like head scratchers that make you upset. Jets fans are really frustrated with him. And then you hear his teammates aren't talking highly of him. They're wearing Mike White t-shirts. So he didn't even get to year 3. But you're right. No, year 3, I agree, is a big year. Like Trevor Lawrence took a huge leap in year 2. Trevor Lawrence could be in that tier of, oh, that's a good one. I got to pull up my QB tiers. I don't know if you guys have seen my QB tiers yet. I might load that up if I can find it. Uzama will most likely not be there by the time the Niners pick unless they handle their business trading up. He's pretty dope. Okay, Emiliano's on it. That song is classic. I can't do the voice though. I'm not going to try. Jaron said Warriors might be in trouble. Man. I was talking with Krug and, Dan and Rye and Cy. I was talking with the Krug show cast about the Warriors, and it's like they got to catch some lightning in the bottle. They're going to make a move. Andrew Wiggins has to come back and be playing at his playoff peak. Like last year, we all know how sensational Andrew Wiggins was in the playoffs, rebounding, defending, knocking down threes. Like Wiggins was huge. He ain't playing. He's missed a month. So is he going to get back into his groove? When is that going to happen? But I'm not counting him out, though, Jaron. I can't count him out. I'm looking at this Western Conference, and the Nuggets are really good. Nuggets are really freaking good. The Suns are top heavy. Don't get me wrong, they got 4 really freaking good players. A couple of them are superstars when you're talking Kevin Durant, Devin Booker. But they're top heavy. Excuse me. So we'll see, Jaron. They need Wiggins. They need GP2. And they need to start playing some damn defense, which hasn't happened all year. So I'm not going to hold my breath. Do you think we sign a free agent DT or draft one or both? I'm going to say both, Jaguayo. I'm going to say both. They need bodies. They got a lot of free agents along this D line. I mean, what defensive tackles are under contract? Javon Kinlaw, can't count on him. Eric Armstead, he's still good, but I mean that's one guy. You know, you got to have at least like four. You know, so I'm thinking you draft a guy, you sign a guy or two. It's going to be a combination, Jaguayo. And thank you for that super chat. Beto said, Lakers, baby. Beto! Man, I hate to say it, but the Lakers got a lot better at the deadline. They got a lot better at the deadline. They had some good moves. Flat out. I mean, upgraded from Russell Westbrook to D'Angelo Russell. You know, added Jarrett Vanderbilt, added Malik Beasley. So I didn't like that. I got to be honest. I don't like the Lakers, Beto, but they got a lot better. Like they went from having no shot at making the playoffs to having a chance to making the playoffs and being like kind of like I don't think teams I don't think are going to want to play the Warriors, but I don't think teams are really going to want to play the Lakers either. But that a lot of that's predicated on LeBron, obviously. So I'm not sure what his injury status is. I know he's been out, but they will need King James. I know drafting a wide receiver isn't high on our priority list, but I like Matt Landers from Arkansas. 6'4", 208, 4.3 speed, looked good in the catching drills. Sleeper. Okay, Lova. No doubt. I respect your opinion. I know you're on it. I haven't scouted receivers. The way I like evaluate the prospects, I tend to hone in at like one position and watch like 20, 25 guys. Like I watched 25 defensive tackles. And then tight end, I've only gone through 10. I've been kind of behind on my some years I'm more prepped than others. But right now I got D tackles, I got tight ends. I haven't gotten to wide receiver. Last year I scouted wide receiver like crazy, and I really liked Danny Gray. In fact, I put out a top 20 wide receiver video. I enjoyed making that video. Romeo Dubs is my guy. I was the only guy who had Romeo Dubs in the top 10 in terms of their wide receiver rankings for the draft last year. He had some flashes with A-Rod. He had some flashes. They were really trying to depend on him. You know, with Devontae gone, Christian Watson missed a large chunk of the year. I want like at the start of the year, right? Romeo, he had some flashes. He had some good games. He was a hot fantasy name to pick up for a while, but Romeo Dubs, I don't know why I'm talking about Romeo. Just anytime I'm talking about wide receivers and players I scouted, last year I was all over Romeo. But okay, I'm gonna check out Matt Landers. Let me write him down too. Okay. He's on the list. He's on the list to watch. Welcome back, D'Angelo Russell, to the lineup. Yeah. You guys had to trade him along with Timofey Mozgov because the Lakers gave this atrocious contract to Timofey Mozgov. So they had to attach D'Angelo Russell to Timofey Mozgov just to be able to trade Mozgov away. That was really bad, but now you got him back. So interesting. Austin Reeves, I'm not gonna lie, Austin Reeves is pretty good. I like him. He's yay! We for sure going to get straight out of Bay Crew rolling more frequently. Yeah, we're about to get some news. Free agencies about to be popping off Mondays straight out of the Bay. It's on all of our channels streaming at the same time. You can just rotate. Start off on Celts, switch it to Amin, go to Jay, and then finish up with Baller. Any thoughts on Laporta or Keaton Mitchell? Yes. Yes, Laporta. The dude can move. That's the first thing I wrote, Kelts. He can move. He's quick. He's fast and quick. And I got a comp. And it's whenever you're making comps, right? I feel like you got, at least I do. I look at like what's like their ceiling. Like I like ceiling comps. Like I'm not gonna give you a floor comp for a guy, right? Like that's no fun. So, and just so everyone watching knows, when he's saying Laporta, I'm assuming he's talking Sam Laporta, who's a tight end from Iowa. We know the Niners already have a tight end from Iowa. But I'm looking to add a tight end too, and that's why I've been scouting these tight ends. But listen to Sam Laporta's NFL draft comp per Bay Area baller. Okay. Dallas Clark. When I was watching the film, Celts, he looked Dallas Clark-ish is what I wrote. So I'm gonna put it out there. I wrote it down, so I might as well share it with you guys. It's a lofty comp because Dallas Clark, I want to say he's a Hall of Famer, right? Dallas Clark was just really freaking good with Peyton Manning, Marvin Harrison, Reggie Wayne, Brandon Stokely. And just so you guys know, right, Barry Baller 18. Why is it 18? And it was because of Peyton Manning. Peyton Manning was my guy. I loved me some Peyton Manning growing up. I just liked watching him play. It was like poetry on the field, except with the wobble. He did throw some wobblers in there, but I really liked Peyton. So 18 was my number when I was playing baseball in high school. Little pitcher, little second base. But yeah, no, I watched. So obviously, being a Peyton Manning fan, I watched a lot of Dallas Clark. And when I was watching Sam Laporta, it just kind of reminded me, just like the size, right? 6'3", 245 at the combine. Like that's, and he ran the 4.59, 4.59, and he's moving. That's a good time. Okay. I love talking the draft, but you guys came with the draft prospects tonight. I was not expecting that. I wasn't. But we still got some other news I wanted to hit on. Okay. How many players were tagged? My God. I wrote down the players that were tagged by their NFL teams. We'll start off. De'Aaron Payne received the tag. I know a lot of 49ers fans were hoping maybe Niners would take a big swing at De'Aaron Payne. No, he's not available. Tony Pollard got the franchise tag from the Cowboys, and that one's interesting because he's coming off a broken leg. The guy broke his leg in the playoffs. You guys saw it. And so that one was interesting. That one's interesting to me. Josh Jacobs, it needed to happen. I mean, the Raiders botched it by not picking up his fifth-year option. Now you got to tag him. But Josh Jacobs led the NFL in rushing. He's phenomenal. Just a physical runner. The first guy never brings him down. And he's shifty too. Like Josh Jacobs was really freaking good this past year. Evan Ingram got the tag from the Jaguars. He had a really good year. And it's like, Trevor Lawrence, we're talking about budding quarterbacks, year 3. You don't want to take a weapon away from him. So they tagged Evan Ingram. In fact, and they added Calvin Ridley, who's been reinstated. Calvin Ridley is a really freaking good player. Let me remind you. So you pair that night Christian Kirk like that receiver core, like next year, if you guys play a little fantasy football, Trevor Lawrence should be going pretty high up on that quarterback list. What is it? I'm spitballing here, but Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts, Lamar Jackson are in the mix, but like Trevor Lawrence is like right after that, like right there. Lamar Jackson got the non-exclusive tag. And let's talk about it, fellas. Let's talk about it. Why aren't teams rushing to the forefront to offer him this big deal to see if the Ravens will match? Like, to me, this is your chance to get a supremely talented quarterback. You're probably going to have to overpay him for the Ravens not to match. You're probably going to have to put a lot of guaranteed money in there. But I thought there would be a team that would bite. You're telling me right now, Carolina's obviously out. They just traded up for the number one pick, but Washington's out. Las Vegas is out. Like Las Vegas, you really you want Jimmy Garoppolo that bad? You want Jimmy G that bad that you're not going to make a run at Lamar? And for that one, there might be some potentially maybe some money issues there. I've heard when you offering guaranteed money, you got to put that money's. I don't know about Mark Davis and the financial situation over there. But the one that makes the most sense, yet they don't seem interested in Lamar Jackson, is the Atlanta Falcons. Like that one, Arthur Smith loves to run the ball, right? I mean, Kyle Pitts barely got any targets because they're running the ball all game. He's running it with Marcus Mariota. That felt like the team that should have made a run at Lamar, but it doesn't seem like it's going to happen. I thought Arthur Smith has this run first approach. They have a lot of salary cap money. They need a quarterback. I mean, yeah, you got Desmond Ridder, but you potentially got a shot at Lamar Jackson. So I just thought it's been really weird. I thought there'd be a team or two that would kind of push the Ravens to see if, hey, can we offer them something that maybe they won't match? And then yeah, you give up 2 1s. But I mean, 2 1s for Lamar Jackson. So that's where I'm at with that. I thought the Falcons were the team. The Jets traded a 7th-round pick for Chuck Clark of the Ravens. Good safety. But why don't we go back to New York? New York. Hey, shout out my boy Sasson. Hey, yo, he used to say, hey, yo, hey, Bay Area. What's going on with the Niners? Bay Area. So, hey, New York. They signed Daniel Jones. Massive deal. And they tagged Saquon Barkley. So, hey, Brian Daboll, remember, he's worked with Josh Allen. He worked a year with Daniel Jones. And if Brian Daboll felt comfortable, obviously he signed off on this big Daniel Jones payday. It's like, who am I to say like it's a bad deal? Now, Daniel Jones feels like Twitter hates Daniel Jones. I thought he's pretty solid. I thought he was pretty freaking solid. We know he can rush. He can run. He had no weapons last year. Like, who is he throwing the ball to? Tell me, Darius Slayton? Like, Darius Slayton, they didn't want to give him any burn at the start of the year. He was supposed to be like their 4th guy. Kadarius Toney, obviously that didn't work out. They shipped him off to KC. He's catching touchdowns in the Super Bowl. The big Kenny Golladay contract, that was terrible. He's washed. Who else they got? Legitimately, they had a dude named Lawrence Cager. Do you know him? Tight end. Yeah, they got that white boy at tight end. I'm forgetting his name, but he ain't nothing special. What I'm saying is Daniel Jones was pretty solid, led the Giants to the playoffs, and he had like legitimately no receivers that are good. Legitimately, Darius Slayton's decent. No one that was good. Oh, Richie James. How can we forget about Richie? Richie James was getting a lot of burn with the Giants. Yeah, Loda's like, hey, Falcons got nice targets. Yeah, it'd be a couple nice weapons. Hey, they're not interested, Loda. Luke said they don't want to give up 2 1s and have to give him this huge contract for a guy who's not there in the playoffs. Luke, well, they're not in the playoffs without him anyway. So Lamar's a winner. Lamar Lamar might be the most dynamic runner of the football in the NFL, regardless of position. Like, who is more dynamic in open space with the ball in his hand other than Lamar Jackson? It's like Tyreek Hill's pretty freaking scary in space. Jalen Waddle's really good in space. Lamar Jackson might be even better. So that being said, I think teams should be all over him. Dable knows how to develop QBs. So I'm saying, Josh Allen, he felt comfortable giving DJ this big extension. Hey, get Daniel Jones some weapons. I think you're going to see some improved quarterback play. Luke said, I like Daniel Jones. The one act, only about 35 mil. The rest incentives. His leading wide receiver was our punt returner in Richie James. Yeah, hey, thanks, Luke. Spitting facts. Yeah, Richie James was on the field a lot for him. Although for some reason I thought Darius Slayton. Darius Slayton was kind of their guy. Like at the end of the year, trust me, I had to start him in some fantasy leagues. It was in a pinch. But either way, they got to upgrade the position. Get Danny Dimes some legit targets. And really, that's where Odell Beckham should go. Odell Beckham should go back to the Giants where he had his best days. They need a weapon. That makes a lot of sense to me. Oh, Jesus is absolutely the most. Then Fields proved to be pretty good at QB. Fields made some plays this year. It's nice to see the Bears give him a vote of confidence in terms of trading back. It sounds like they're building. They get DJ Moore, Claypool. We're going to wrap it up here soon. Luke said, I think they got Daniel Jones for cheap. After they improve the offense, the 4 years will look good. They should sign Adam Thielen. Adam Thielen, yeah, I'm hearing he's going to be a cap casualty for the Minnesota Vikings. Adam Thielen's still a good player. Still a good player. Probably don't have to pay him a ton. It's kind of coming off a down year. Hey, fellas, thanks for coming by tonight. I had a lot of blast talking to you guys. Well, it's a fun time of the year. It's the off season, but NFL free agency is right around the corner. So we're going to be getting a lot of news. You can expect more live streams. Hit the like, hit the subscribe, and I'm telling you guys should hit the bell because I don't even know when I'm going live. Y'all don't know when I'm going live. So that way, if you hit the bell, you get the notification. You say, oh, okay, Baller's live. Let's hop in there and get it popping. Okay, let's hear what Jaguayo said. Jaguayo said, how confident are you that McCrary Ball can develop? I'm pretty confident. I like me some McCrary Ball. And, I love Aziz Al-Shaair. It's going to be sad to see him go, but the dude shouldn't be a number 3 linebacker on a team. He's a number 1. He's a starting linebacker in this NFL. Like, he could be a team's number 1 guy. So Aziz, I expect him to move on. And McCrary Ball, I'm pretty confident. I feel like you usually have like 4 linebackers on the roster, so you can move up McCrary Ball from the practice squad to the active roster, and then you still try to keep a guy like a DFF. We're talking Flanagan Fowles. He's also solid. He's filled in. Like, I think Flanagan Fowles is solid, and you got McCrary Ball, former safety. He's really fast. You let him compete for that third linebacker role. It's a position the Niners have developed and drafted, just scouted really well. They scout good linebackers. Hey, Lola, I appreciate it. Thank you for coming by. The chat was live. This is where I wrap it up. Oh, look at it. Look at it. Look at it right at the end. What do you know? Hey, Luke, I appreciate the support. I had a blast talking to you guys. That's what my chat is so knowledgeable. I love talking with the chat and interacting. He said, just cause one love. Hey, I'm gonna keep swinging that picks, uh, grinding my tail off, so I can bring you guys just the best analysis, my opinion, and I love talking ball with you guys. Hell of a way to end the show. Thank you, Luke. You guys have a good